Hi everyone, good evening. This is Abhimanyu, Assistant Marketing Manager, Vari Energies Limited. So thank you for being here in today's webinar on floating solar PV power plants. So this is a webinar that is in collaboration with Sailed Terre. And today's speaker for this webinar will be Mr. Ajmal Jamal, who is a Senior Manager BD and Sales at Sailed Terre. He was previously working as a manager PMO at Sterling and Wilson, as an intensive experience in project management part of solar PV industry. So, Mr. Ajmal, very warm welcome to this webinar. We can proceed now with the webinar once again.
Yeah, thank you, Abhimanyu, for the welcome. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Ajmal Jamal. I am taking care BD and sales activities of CL Terra India. So, warm welcome to everyone for today's webinar session on floating solar PV system. I hope, am I audible, Abhimanyu?
Yeah, perfectly audible. We can go ahead.
Yes, thank you for that. So, first of all, thanks to Vari Group for arranging this exclusive webinar session today for floating solar system. Today, I am going to talk about the benefits of floating solar system and how it can be implemented in India for our country's growth. So, why we require a second? So, why require a floating solar for our country? So, I am taking into focusing on our country, India. So, India is a diversified cultural country. Actually, we having a large population, and we are the second largest country who having the more population in the world. Also, we are on 31st of the very large population density. Also, around 404 people are there in the 1 kilometer square area. We have around total 329 million hectare space in India. Out of that, around 44% of the area is covered with inland water bodies such as lakes and all, rivers, everything together. So available land for us is around 56%. So with our big population, we require a large amount of land. We require a large amount of land, power, food, and water to accommodate this much people. So we all know that India is having a large target of 450 gigawatt renewable energy target by 2030. Recently, we crossed around 100 gigawatt peak milestone in renewable energy implementation. So for balance 350 megawatt, we have various renewable energy sectors like solar, wind, biomass, everything. But most of the renewable energy sectors are in floating solar PV sectors only, like our traditional ground mount and the rooftop solar system. So for our balance 350 megawatt peak, whether the traditional solar system is having enough land, that is the main question we having. So we have a large amount of shortage of land in India because of the highest population. So I have just taken 3 points, which is one is the food security priority, and one is the growing demand in consumption, not only in land as well as in power. And we having a water scarcity around 54% as per the recent studies. Around 54% of India is facing a large water stress actually. So how the floating solar system can help our India to make sustainable green power generation in renewable energy sector. So first one is the floating solar. We all know that floating solar is never using any kind of land. It is a limited maximum. If it is for a MCR or some kind of evacuation, only we are using the land. Or otherwise, for implementing the floating solar system, we are not using any kind of land. So we are preserving our precious agricultural land to secure food. Second, from this floating solar system, we are getting a cleaner power, greener power. We are not using any kind of coal or something. Third one is that we are preserving our water evaporation. So it will reduce the water evaporation around the country, and It will help us to make more quality water, and it can be usable for our people also. So there are some small challenges I have taken out from the experience which I having for the traditional solar system. So first one is the land scarcity. We all know that. From the land scarcity also, we don't have any lands available nearby grid area. So that is the main concern. Always we will, there are costs associated with the ROW cost for the evacuation part. Second point is that we require a remote space for doing the ground mounted system solar. So it will increase our infrastructure cost also. Third one is that nowadays most of the solar parks, they were using hill region for implementation of ground mounted system. So which will finally raising our cost of a capex. The fourth one is the land use in conflict. So for the, as like I told, for nearby grid, our cost will be increasing, as well as there are a lot of social rejection from the people who are nearby. So where social rejection for they are using our agricultural land. They were worried with their security, lot of things. So recently there are a lot of agricultural farmers also came up with because of solar, they were getting affected with some kind of sort of signals and all. There are a lot of conflict happened in Karnataka also. We all know that. And the fourth one, the hot region area, we are using this kind of traditional solar ground mounted solar system will reduce the efficiency of the PV modules. Yeah. So I will how our floating system can able to help India. So I just given a map, given a small diagram for the untapped and underutilized surface area of our water bodies in India. So we having around 38,000 square kilometer of water body surface area available in India. Out of that, if we are taking a 10% of the water body also, we having an untapped potential water body for installing a 750 gigawatt peak solar system in India itself. This I accumulated from various websites. So you can refer that sources also. So this 750 gigawatt peak, how can help our renewable energy target in the current Indian scenario? So I will come to that point. So before that, I would like to, some of them are basics, they are beginners in floating solar. I would like to explain about small intro about floating solar first. So in a floating solar system, so there is mainly, if we compare it with the normal ground mounted system, basically there is a float board will be there for installing the PV modules as well as the SCB combiner boxes and all. Usually we are using the HDP, that is a widely used material for floating solar system. There are some cases there are different material is using some kind of metals also they are using in another countries. But most of the cases, there are HDP is a material which is plastic used for installation of PV modules as well as other components. Apart from that, for installing the bigger inverters, inverter transformer, to reduce the DC cables, there is a inverter barges also used in the industry now. So this is basically a float board for installing our floating system for our electrical equipments. This will be anchored and moved with the anchoring and mooring system, which is retain the floater position on the water body. And another one is our PV panel, all electrical component, which we all know that PV modules and SCB, everything will be installed on the floater, and the inverters, inverter transformer, everything will be installed on floaters. And from there, we will be taking the cables to the shore and it will be connected with the grid. So that is a floating solar. There is no, if you compare with the ground mounted solar system, the floating system is two different variables there. In ground mounted solar system, we will be using a piling first. After that, we will be using an MMS. Here, instead of that, first we will be doing the anchoring mooring system and will be the float boards. That is the comparison if you make it. There is no such big rocket engineering in this. So floating PV is not only an alternative, but it's a major solution. So as per the recent this thing from the floating PV sector itself. So the floating solar is the third pillar to solar PV sector. As per the, I think there is recent one study where happened, they were given that command. Floating solar is the third pillar to solar PV sectors actually. Why we required a floating solar? Basically, if we compare with our conventional traditional ground-mounted or rooftop solar system, there is three main parameters. We have another tabulated one more comparison also. First one is the dust. So usually we all know that in ground-mounted system, the soiling will be high. We required during the operations time, we required more cleaning for solar panels to make the efficiency stable. Another one is the shadow. We are installing the traditional solar systems on the ground. There are a number of shadows are there. The third one is the higher temperature. So this is just basically a small comparison about the traditional solar system and floating solar system. So I will take only four major portion. One is the ventilation. So in traditional solar system, the ventilation is very less because of the surrounding obstacles. But if you are looking for a floating solar system, because it's a big water body, the obstacles will be very less. There is no kind of trees, nothing will be there. So the freshwater area bodies will be having more refreshing winds. We all know that. Second one is the external temperature. So in traditional solar system, because of the reflection of the UV rays behind the panel, there will be a much heat will be there. Because of that, our efficiency of the solar modules will be reducing. But if you look on the floating solar system, water is having refraction. We all know that because of refraction as well as because of the wind, refreshing winds, there will be always the behind the solar PV module, we have enough, we have lesser temperature. So the temperature coefficient of the module will reduce as well as we will get more efficiency. The third one is the humidity concentration. Because of the in traditional solar, humidity is very less in the land area, and in floating solar, because of the water body, we have high humidity. Final one is the soiling, which I already discussed, because we all know that in ground mounted system, because of various parameters, we having dust. But in floating solar, because of the water, dust and the soiling effect will be very less. So as per the various studies, in floating solar system, there is a 7 to 15% of the higher generation comparing with the typical ground mount system as well as rooftop system. I will just show you one comparison, which is done by CERIS, Singapore Energy Research Institute. They were implemented a pilot project of various floating solar system with various technologies, and they compared the performance ratio with the typical ground mount and rooftop solar system. So around, as per their report, basically it's in the this one. It's in the journal also. It's a you can able to get the this one from this web also. So around 15% higher generation we will be getting in terms of comparing with the typical rooftop system. So there are various benefits of floating solar system. So I am not going much into the benefits of floating solar system, but I will name few of them. So one is the environmental. So there is no effect on the water. Second is the water evaporation will be reduced. And third one, the algal blooms, which because we are in South India and all, we are facing a lot of issues with the algal blooms. So which will reduce the quality, water quality also. So that is another concern. And finally, the erosion because of the floating solar will limit the wave action. It will reduce the erosion of the reservoir embankment also. And other than this, there is a land we are not using. Because of that, we will be getting additional generation for the unused areas. The grid connection cost. The main thing is the grid connection cost will be reducing, because most of the water body having a dam, so it will have its own evacuation system for transmitting the power. So if we are making a combination of floating solar system with a hydel project, so it's a hybrid model. So we can able to reduce the cost of evacuation in floating solar system. So we have plenty of dams in India. We can able to transform all this to a floating solar, making our green energy along with the hybrid floating solar systems. So finally, the generation, the enhanced energy generation I already discussed. Other than this, there are some social benefits. So one is the rehabilitation. So the main concern in our city water bodies, we are facing a lot of contamination in our water bodies, and it is unused, untapped. So there are a lot of water also getting wasted. So recently I visited one of my customer in Kerala. So they were planning for doing a floating solar system in a city water lake. So which is a good idea to implement that such kind of project, because that not only making our making a power, as well as that can be rehabilitates that lake, which will get cleaned, which will used for the recreational activities, such as some kind of tourism they can able to be used. So that kind of, in terms of aesthetics also, it will change the whole shape of that reservoir as well as the surrounding area. Yeah, so I will come to the technical part of floating solar system. So our this thing is the Hydrelio is our innovation, which is made simple floating solar. So I will come to that. So there will be a floating body. So it's a modular system. So there will be a floating body above that, because we can't able to make a steady system, because if we are making a big system which will not hold under the waves, wind, as well as the current actions on the water. So we require a modular system. So the modular system will have a per module, there will be a one floater which will hold the whole module. So this will be the tilt. Usually the tilt in the industry is 5 to 12 degree. So that will be fixed tilt, and we will be making with a different kind of vertical and horizontal clamping arrangement system. And the modular system is connected with the other floaters through a connection pin, which is called fiberglass or PP materials. So there will be a different kind of system. So usually people will ask for east-west or orientation. People will ask for more like a 1 in arrow configuration, 2 in arrow configuration, like 4 in arrow configuration. So I am just explaining two configuration. One is a 2 in arrow configuration, which is widely used in the floating solar PV industry, as well as 4 in arrow configuration is most widely used because it's having the cost-effective solution. You can see from the difference, you can see from the screen itself. So after in a 4 in arrow configuration, after 4 consecutive module, there will be a walkway will be there, and in 2 in arrow configuration, after 2 consecutive module, there will be a walkway will be available. So this will reduce the main in terms of point of maintenance. 2 in a row would be best, but we would always suggest to recommend to go ahead with the 4 in a row configuration to reduce the capex costing, because in a lifetime of 25 years, for almost all we all know that we will the replacing of modules will be very less. Usually in a year, we will do the cleaning activities of a floating system. In that case, one person can stand here and he can able to clean this whole modules, because it is just 1 meter far away from here. One person with a brush can able to clean second and third module from this side also, this side also. So there is no requirement of another additional walkways, which will increase the cost. So the once we made an island with the various configuration, we'll have a 2 megawatt, 3 megawatt, 5 megawatt, 8 megawatt, up to 10 megawatt island, depending upon the site specific conditions. Once it is completed, we need to go for a anchoring. So anchoring is a biggest and critical point in a floating solar system. So why do we anchor a floating solar plant to make it to prevent the solar line to be blown away from by the wind, wave, and water flow? So there are various parameters are there. I am just naming it whatever the people knows common in the industry. While considering a anchoring mooring system and the feasibility studies, we require to consider a lot of things taken into account to make a sustainable floating solar system. So the floating solar, the anchoring and mooring system also prevent the movement of solar island. Basically, we all prefer to go with the south tilt. So to prevent the solar island, vertical movement will be there, but the horizontal movement should be limited to make that the floating system is making maximum generation with the help of south tilt. So that is one. And another one, if any kind of wave wind or something is there, or if it is because movement in water will be very high, whatever floats above that, movement in water will be very high, and it will go and it will hit the banks, and it will, whenever the water level variation happens, it will go and hit the banks. So to prevent that also, you can see from a one GIF animation is there, how the anchoring and mooring system will react when it is a maximum water level, when it is a low water level, and when it is a minimum water level. So in minimum water level means no water condition. There are a lot of project requirement also coming without water. Sometimes during the summer season there is no water. How you will do a project? In such condition, we will be preferring, because we having higher undulation on the water bottom, we can't do the installation of floating solar because it's a modular system. If it is higher undulation, our float will get damaged as well as our module also will get damaged. In such condition, we can go for, during the summer season, we can do some kind of leveling on that particular location and we can do the floating solar above that. So there are a lot of parameters need to be taken care for designing a floating solar system. First one is the bathymetry. So most of the people who are dealing with the floating solar industry, we all know that bathymetry is the first step to take a for a floating solar system. One is bathymetry. There are various different kind of bathymetry also there. Bathymetry for anchoring, bathymetry for wave studies, and bathymetry for side scanning. So there are various studies also available in the industry. Once that over, we will make a various different kind of combination of maybe 5 megawatt, 6 megawatt, different kind of array. We will be designing it. Accordingly, we will go ahead with the project. And once we made our array layout, we need to go for a anchoring and mooring system. For an anchoring mooring system, we require to do an SPT. SPT basically, if it is considering with our traditional government solar system, is nothing but a soil studies. But we require to take the soil sample of underwater soil sample. So that is a special study done by marine team. So that is known as SPT, standard penetration test. Other than this, we need to consider a lot of other parameters like static, dynamic wave assessment, gusty winds, the flood, and the other force majeure condition. Everything should be taken care before going for a floating solar design. So this is just a overview of the anchoring method. So what kind of anchoring we should take care for a floating solar system? There are two types of anchoring system, at the banks and at the bottom. At the banks itself, we have different types of anchoring systems, screw anchoring system, drag anchoring system, different kind of anchoring system can be done on the banks. As well as we have a bottom anchoring system. There is a dead weight anchoring system. Widely used is screw anchoring system, but some area will be dead weight anchoring system also will be used. But the that is depending upon the site specific conditions. So I hope I completed the floating part, the float board part, and the anchoring mooring system part, how it would be taken care. I'll come to the construction part. So basically in a construction, there is a 4 major stages are there. First one is as like our traditional solar system also, we require a site preparation, but not like our, there is no such kind of civil works in a floating solar system. We required a platform to install a floating solar system. You can see from the screen, there is a platform is there. I'll show you one video to understand better. So we required a platform for installing the floating solar system. So in that platform only, we will be installing the float board along with the module, because it's a modular system. Row by row, we need to install and we need to push to the water and we need to connect with the islands. So first one is the site preparation, and second, we need to take care of the anchoring and mooring system installation. Before going for a floating solar installation, we should take care our anchoring and mooring system. We will install the anchoring mooring system and we will kept with a buoy. The mooring system will kept with a buoys. After that, we will go for a hydrolio mounting, which is float system mounting. The row by row we will install and we will push to the water. And once one small island is over, we will tug with the help of a boat or something, and we will connect with the existing installed mooring system. We will connect with the spreader bars. Like you can see, there is a spreader bar will be there. Before going for a installation of float boards, we will complete the anchoring system, and we will kept with a buoys here. Once this is over, we will tug into the particular location and we will connect with the mooring system. Before that should be taken care, because as like I told, in water body, because of wind, wave, and current action, there will be always a wave action. Always there will be a movement will be very higher. Because of that, if anything happens over the night also, it will be our planned, whatever we made the island will be in danger. So we make sure that we should connect the mooring lines always with the floating system whenever we complete it. So I'll show you a small video to understand about the floating solar system. So which is just we have did one pilot project in Australia to understand how the 4 major steps should be taken care. I hope you all enjoyed the video presentation of the construction works. So what should be taken care before going for a floating solar system? So we should take care a proper site specific feasibility studies before going for a floating solar system. There are I have seen a lot of tenders were cancelled recently because of unavailability of proper feasibility study. Because we just see the surface of the water, and we will be there are a lot of people who are unaware about the floating solar. They will be tendering something without knowing the exact requirement. So before going for a floating solar system, we should take care proper feasibility studies to understand how much capacity can be done, or whether the floating solar itself, whether it is feasible for that particular location. Because our various water body having various kind of depth, but level variation, and wind wave actions and all. So it all depend upon the site specific locations. So for a floating solar system, we should take care the proper site studies before going for a tender or for a project. That should be taken care. Because basically, unlike like a ground mounted system, we can't able to foresee the situation of site specific situation, what is going to happen in water, uh, because of wave wind action, there are a lot of risks are associated with that. The second point is what kind of product we need to be taken care, whether we can go with HDP, whether we can go with steel, we can go with FRP, what kind of material, what kind of solution we need to go ahead with the floating solar solutions. So the product should be tested, proven, bankable, which can able to provide us 25 years of uh, sustainability for the project. Because 80% of our asset is placed just above the 20% of floating system. Because 20% of the cost associated with the floating system, and we are installing our crores of crores rupees above the floating platform. Unlike like our ground mounted system, if something happens only, it may affect only one table or something. Here we are not talking about the table, because if it is, if something happens which is going to affect the whole island, which is maybe 4 megawatt, 5 megawatt, the thousands of panels which will be going to affect. So such kind of situation can be taken out considering the bankable and proven solutions. Second point is whether we will get, because we all seen that there are warranty clauses are there, everything is there. But if finally we will get after completion, we will get a warranty certificate. And for 10 years, 20 years, we will get a warranty certificate. Whether it will be usable for after 5 years, if something happened, whether that would be usable or not, we need to check. So how we can able to back up that warranty? That warranty can be backed up by something kind of 25 years warranty can be backed up by something kind of a insurance program. If something happens because of quality, because of design flaws, something happened, that plan should be protected for 25 years. That kind of plans we should take care. Also, we need to, recently we have seen a lot of new companies, Chinese companies also coming up, floaters, because most of them are making the water tanks before, or water tanks or some kind of plastic material before. They were coming up with something, and they were doing such kind of floating solar system without knowing any kind of experience and any kind of research and development in this field. So maybe such kind of this thing will damage our market itself, and it will make unsustainable projects also in the industry. So we should always check whether the product is good, whether it will be sustainable, whether it will be with that wave condition or wind condition, it will be sustainable in that particular specific location or not. Everything should be taken care before going for a floating solar system. Also, finally, there are not in India, but we have a lot of certifications, lot of standards available across the world, across the globe. We should check first before going for a floating solar whether it will be qualified for such kind of certification, such kind, whether it is tested or not. That kind of things need to be taken care. There, I am not making into much into the test, but there are different kind of tests. Big wind tunnel testing is there, real scale wind tunnel testing is there, and tensile strength testing is there for higher radiation, because we are placing the plastic above the water. So if we are not using a plastic, good plastic, higher quality virgin material, so after some years it will start degrade, because we all know that plastic is going to degrade. The content behind inside the raw material, whatever the additive inside that is going to make our floating solar project for sustainable for 25 years. If we are not using a good quality material, because we will get a plastic with 50 rupees up to the range of 120 rupees. Same like we can't able to compare Ford with a Maruti Suzuki or something. So it is like a comparison we can't make, because basically finally the raw material. If you are not using a good raw material, it is going to be degraded. It will surely it will be a big headache for us for after some years, because we are going to install the float product above our precious water body, which is used for various ecosystems, like not only human, there are plenty of other ecosystem are depending upon that water body. And if we are making a small fault for a better price, for a lesser price now, which is going to be a big disaster after some years, because already we all know that the solar PV sector, there are big debate is happening on how we can able to take out this uh, module wastage after 25 years. There are big debate is happening in our solar PV sector itself. So if we are not, if we are making a little mistake now also, it will be a big headache for us after maybe 5 years or 10 years also. So it should be tested for higher radiation, and it should give product warranty as well as sustainability for floating system for 25 years. Should be sensitive to water, so that it will not harmful to the ecosystem development, as well as it will not harmful to the humans. The final one is the wave current that I already discussed. So should be should be, because we may think that inland water body we don't have any kind of waves or current will happen. Current is there, but waves will not happen. But there are there are a lot of this thing is there. Recently we did one feasibility for one project. I am not naming it, but which is having around 36-kilometer long fetch. It's a big water reservoir in India, and which is having a 36-kilometer water fetch. In that particular project, basically we did a static and dynamic wave assessment, and we were expecting a wave of more than 1.5 meter during some period. So in such kind of project, we may not able to do a floating solar system with a normal not floating solar system. In such kind of system, we should go for some kind of design of wave breaker or something we need to be taken care. So that can be done, that can be assessed with the proper feasibility studies only. Yeah, I will just take you all through a small comparison about the solar cost and price trends, which has happened in floating solar system last couple of years. From 2000, basically this is a graph showing for the basically the ground mounted system solar system from 2019 to 2021. There is around 240% of the cost is reduced already from the previous cost. And in India itself, we are at the peak of the tariff rate also. Around we were seeing around 1.99 rupees per unit last year. And because of COVID, I think the prices are a little bit high now. How high nowadays? But again, we were in the peak of the development, the cost of power now in floating in ground mounted system also. There is a cost reduction because there is a lot of optimization is happening, and again another 57% as per the studies, there another 57% of the cost will reduce up to 2025. So maybe it is depending upon the condition which we are making it, because we are now going through a unavoidable situation of COVID. So maybe it will again the price may increase or price may down. We don't know. So main economic drivers for this the ground mounted system also because of the PV module production capacity. We were in 2009 we were talking about 250 to 220 kilowatt peak module, and nowadays we were talking about 550 to 600 watt peak modules. And the inverters also changed from the small scale inverter to now we have up to 5 MVA big inverters can be catered in from the one location itself. That kind of big inverter and the various technologies also came. Of course, cost of money is a big part. And another one is we have accumulated know-how from the project experience we having. Now India is, as I told in the first session, so India is almost close to 100 gigawatt renewable energy So we have an accumulated know-how, and that is why we are doing a lot of optimization over the years, lot of research and development over the years, and we are getting the exact know-how, and we are doing it. And the economy scale also, which is increasing. So basically, the project EPC project cost, I am not naming it the specific project cost because it would be vary based upon the site specific conditions. Mostly, like if you are looking for a floating solar ground mounted solar system, we are discussing about 3.5 to 4.2 crores per megawatt. But of course, there will be a price change in terms of floating solar system because of the higher risk as well as the raw material, the material, whatever we are changing it. So the various part, I just made a small comparison for basically nowadays people are more looking into capex model, how we can able to reduce the capex cost. But in floating solar system, I recommend to make a OPEX model, how we can able to make an OPEX model to win. So I have just small comparison. First one is the capex up to DC part. Up to DC part, maybe it will price will be maybe varying as per the recent price increases. Maybe so you get this indicative price only. You can take it. So of course there is a difference in ground mount solar and floating solar. There is a difference in cost for up to capex up to DC part because of the HDP higher plastic we are using, more, the anchoring and mooring system, the implementation, everything. There is a cost associated with that. There is a some percentage higher than considering with the normal ground mounted system. But if you consider with the grid connection, if we having a good project, as like I told, the hybrid floating system along with the hydel energy, we can reduce the we can use the existing evacuation. With that, we can reduce the grid connection cost also, considering with the normal ground mounted system. And the third one, in terms of OPEX, because usually in floating solar in ground mounted solar system, because of the high soiling, we require to clean the modules minimum 2 to 4 times in an year to make our efficiency better. But because of water, we don't want to do that kind of cleaning process in a floating solar system, because once in a year it would be good because of the lower soiling. Another one is the site maintenance. Given the no maintenance for floating solar, just consider as a limited maintenance. Considering with the floating solar ground mounted solar system, the maintenance of floating solar system would be limited. You can consider this panel cleaning, various factors will be there. Maybe that I am not naming it here. Another one is the insurance. Insurance cost is almost equal. Another one is the yield. Yield I already discussed. There is a, as per the studies from the worldwide, there is a 7 to 15% of the higher generation we will be getting in higher yield we will be getting in floating solar because of the natural cooling of the water. Thanks to that. The final one is the cost of land. So cost of the land, basically it is depending upon the state specific or country specific regulations. Everything need to be taken care, because maybe we will get a better land in Rajasthan, but we will not get in states like Kerala and all, because of highest population density. The cost of the land is higher. So implementation of such kind of ground mounted system in such area with the highest population density area will cost you more amount for land also. Another one is the cost of development. Development, because I have did a lot of projects in condition like higher like a hilly region also. So in that condition, we need to do a lot of civil works like bush cutting, cleaning, leveling, negative contours we need to find out. There are a lot of things we need to be taken care for a preliminary preparation itself. We need to take care, a lot of amount need to be spent for doing such kind of ground mounted system. But in floating solar, we all know that the water body is almost plain. We don't want to do any such kind of development cost in that particular. Final one is the mainly the evaporation saving. So in ground mounted system, we all know that evaporation saving is not there, but we need to spend lot of money in water to do the cleaning, and that will be not that is additionally in some of the area will have a large water scarcity. In that such kind of area, it would be very difficult to arrange water. Maybe sometimes I see in some sites like after doing this one also piling for water also they were after 100 feet also 100 to 200 feet also we will be not getting water. So such kind of site also we have seen. So so in a floating solar system we are installing the floaters on the water, so we have plenty of water around. We can use the same water. If it is a good water, we can use the same water for such kind of cleaning purpose. Or otherwise, if we are using some cement factories also planning to do some of the cement factories manufacturing units also in India also planning to do such kind of floating solar installation. So maybe they need to do some process to clean the existing water. They need to do some RO process to do the cleaning purpose. So there are water is available. We don't want to buy from outside, and we can save it. So there are who will be benefited from this kind of floating solar system first. I recommend first to take care our big industries, because they having a big they wanted to do big amount of they wanted captive power usage, because they having a big amount of captive power usage for the manufacturing various activities inside the plant. So because some of the site in whatever we were implemented, I will come to that project part also. So we were implementing our floating solar system for the fertilizer plant. We were implemented our floating solar project for the thermal power plant, because they all having a big cooling process. For big cooling process, what they require? They require a water. So inside that premises itself, they will be having a big water lakes. So they can be utilized that water bodies, and they can make a green energy from that. So that will not only for their captive usage, they can be reduce the water evaporation in their existing raw water ponds. It will help them to make a good floating solar system, as well as making they can able to save lot of amount of money spending the additional water during the summer seasons. So that is one. So all like our whoever having a big water lakes, because most of the company who having the bigger heating process like a car factory, thermal power plants, aluminum power plant, there is a ferrous power plant, steel power plant, whoever having that kind of manufacturing units, they will have a big water body for the cooling purpose. They require a coolant, that is water. So they will have a big water body. They can utilize that fully to make a greener energy, because that area is underutilized, as well as we can cover maximum 90% of the water body, because there is no ecosystem inside that such kind of water body in this industrial water bodies, raw water ponds that can be used. So second preference is to like our city water lakes. City water lake is a big good application, which can be, because in city water lakes the grid availability will be there, as well as there is a lot of customers like metro rail, there is another malls, all this city area, whatever the this one is there, we will have an existing evacuation facility, or we can able to directly evacuate to their premises itself. So that would reduce our cost of energy also. So and that particular city water lakes can be used for rehabilitation, recreational activities, for the tourism. So all these kind of stuff can be taken care of. So which will also reduce the pollution, because in such kind of water body there is a lot of algal blooms will be there, lot of pollution. People will throw out the waste, everything will happen. If we are making such kind of good projects, floating solar project inside the city water lakes, it will help a lot of people. We will make a green energy. So actually, because we were located in Bangalore, Bangalore is the city of lakes actually, which is so having a big water lakes inside city itself. That water lakes itself will power up whole city if we make some kind of revolution in city water lakes projects. So that is my basically my recommendation in terms of application where we can able to be used. Other than that, we can use all these tidal water bodies. Along with there are some new projects also coming from SECI, like a pumped storage plant. We are getting a lot of inquiry from such kind of vendors to do a floating solar flow project along with the pumped storage plant, so that they can able to make more energy generation. So I would like to just discuss about one small aspect, that is the environmental impact. There is a basically we are using the man-made ponds. If we are using the man-made pond, the wildlife is usually will not be there. So that can be used for such kind of energy generation. And mostly the main concern everybody is asking us, what if we are installing the floating solar, it will affect the ecosystem. So basically we will not cover if we are having an ecosystem, normal natural water body reservoir, we will not cover more than 50%. We will limit up to 50%. And also if it is a maybe 50 megawatt project also, we will not install full area. We will install like part by part, maybe 3 megawatt one island, and the island to island there will be a gap will be there. So it will reduce the environmental impact inside that. So we will use maximum 50%. Also, there is a positive impact. Everything is there, and it will not impact the agricultural land or forest. And because of the low rise installation, because we are in floating solar, so we can make maximum 5 to 12 degree. Because if we are going for higher one, because of the wave action, wind and wave action, there will be higher impact will come. We have did a lot of research in that. So because of that, we will be limiting to 5 to 12 degree. So low rise installation will look low visual impact. There will be no aesthetic issues in such kind of installation. So various anchoring solutions, because most of the customers in industrial water lagoons also, they were asking us, because of your anchoring solution, you will go into damage our laners, concrete laners, or the PVC laners, whatever it is available there, you are going to damage that. That will not be possible. So we have various anchoring solution, as I told in my presentation also, drill anchoring, drag anchoring, pile anchoring, maybe deadweight anchoring. All this is there. It is all depending upon the site specific location we will be taking it. So that will avoid the damaging of the shores or pond bottom. So that is my one. So as I told, we will be taking maximum of coverage ratio below 50% to conserve our ecosystem. So to save our ecosystem in that particular locations. That design itself we will be taking care accordingly. So this is for the natural water reservoir. Maybe for industrial water reservoir, as I told, because of no ecosystem there, we will maximum utilization we will take care, maybe 90 to 80%. So that it will reduce the algal blooms and it will improve the quality of water. So I would like to just accumulate about the things. So as we have a track record of 218 numbers of project, I will just complete it immediately. And around 1.3 gigawatt we implemented worldwide. More than 82 countries we implemented, and a lot of more than 600 megawatt project is already connected with the grid, and another 690 megawatt plus is under various installation phases. The 90 megawatt peak is the biggest project we have implemented in Taiwan. And as I told, all this proven solution, everything will come. We also taken the experience from last 10 years of innovation in ground mounted solar system. We did a lot of optimization various parts, and we came with a better pricing now. So as like that, we also did last 11 years, we did a research and development, and we came up with a better products in floating solar system. And of course, we will not compromise on quality. We will compromise on the technical and advancement. Not compromise. We will come up with the various technical advancement, but we will not compromise on the quality. So as I told, last 2 years we did a lot of projects in India. First one is for the Cochin International Airport project, which is commissioned in October 2019. And we all know that last 3 years, Kerala is most affecting with the flood condition. And this project is sustained last 2 years, and which is don't have any kind of issues last 2 years, and which is successfully running today also. Because as far as concerned, I am also from my hometown is Cochin, so we have we experienced this big flood last 2 years, but because our project is it's came up from that situations also. And another project we have did for the thermal power plant, which is under the West Bengal Power Development Corporation, 5.4 megawatt, which is commissioned last year, October, which is successfully operational still. And the third project, we have implemented 14.8 megawatt floating solar project for Southern Petroleum Industrial Corporation, Thoothukudi. That is for a fertilizer plant. Yeah, that is actually the biggest commissioned one, actually. One of the India's largest floating solar, which is commissioned. And the fourth project is the 74 megawatt project, which is under installation now in South India. Most probably it will be completing the commissioning by December 2021 this year. So this is some of the glance of you about the project which we have did. In Speak project, we have did a bigger single island design, 14.8 megawatt, because they have almost 80% of the location, the raw water pond we were utilized. So there is no ecosystem actually. They wanted maximum power generation for the captive usage. That is why we have did such kind of design. This is the ongoing project which we having at present. The anchoring mooring system is done, and the floating system installation will be begins from October 2021 onwards, which will be commissioned by this year actually. So I hope I have did my maximum I covered almost my maximum points. So I have given the reference whatever I have taken on the previous slides. So this is the various studies are available, references are available. So if you have any questions, I would like to answer.
So, Mr. Ajmal, thank you for the wonderful session. I'll shoot out the most relevant questions that we have received in the chat box. So someone is asking what module type will be best suited, keeping an ideal efficiency for floating FSPV systems.
Yeah. So basically, I will not recommend that, but surely we will, from our side, as per the discussion with the various module manufacturers. So they are all recommending to go with the bifacial or double glass module. Basically, that is their concern because of the higher moisture content. It will, because of backside also, as we told, there is a temperature is very less. Because of that, it is going to enter inside the module. It will be harmful to the module. That is why all are recommending for higher for bifacial or bifacial. There is no such gain in a bifacial system, but there is a backside glass also will be there. That is why they are recommending that. Otherwise, we can go with the double glass, or there is a TPU back sheet is there. That also better, but that is depending upon the site location and the cost associated with that, how customer can be taken care.